This is the video for Lab 13, Intermediate Vector Analysis. The first thing we want to do is open up our exercise 13 file, and we will have one map with all of the data we need for this lab, and it should be a map of the entire United States with a states layer, an interstates layer, a cities layer, and a tornadoes layer. Step 1 is to define our working environments. So if we go to Analysis, Environments, our current and Scratch workspace should be set to exercise 13. Our current workspace and our Scratch workspace should be set to exercise 13. And we want our processing extent to be the same as the states layer. And we can press OK to save these settings. Step 2 is we want to perform a dissolve on the states layer. So if we go to Analysis, Tools, we can look up the dissolve tool. And we want to set the input feature to states. We want our output feature class to be named regions. And we want our dissolve field to be subregion. And we can run this. So that created different regions. Here we can change the symbology of this if we want to kind of visualize it more. We can use unique values. If we press the plus button, we can control click all of the different regions, and then when we press OK, it'll add them, and we can see all of the different regions. The next step we want to do is we want to conduct an aspatial symmetry on the tornadoes layer. So if we open up the attribute table, Control T, and we go to F scale, and we right click on F scale, we can summarize. We want our input table to be tornadoes, and we want the name of our output to be F scale underscore summary, and then we want the statistics field to F scale, and we want our statistic type to be count. Make sure the case field is set to F scale and press OK. This will create a summary table down here that we can open with all of the data for the F scale. So next we want to do a spatial join between states and tornadoes. So if we go to Tools, we go up to Geoprocessing, look up Spatial Join. This will open. We want our target feature to be states, our join feature to be tornadoes. We want our output feature class to be tornadoes underscore CMT underscore state. We want our join operation to be 1-to-1. And then we can run. Now we can create a new field. So we want to navigate to add geometry. We want to go to calculate geometry attributes. We want our input feature to be tornadoes count by state. We want area and area. And we want square kilometers. And we want our current coordinate system to be the same as the current map. And we want to run. And now if we open up the attribute table for tornadoes count, Control T, and we want to add a new field, so we could go to field, add, and we want to name the new field tornado underscore density. We don't need an alias. We want to set the data type to float. And we want to go up to manage edits and press save. Once we have the torque density, we can calculate the field. So if we right click, calculate field, we can use this expression. So to create that expression, we can do join count is divided by the area, and we can apply that. Close this, we can close our attribute field, and then we can reopen it. And then that will give us the density of tornadoes in each of the states for the tornadoes count by state. The next thing we want to do is to create summary statistics for this field. So we can then right click, summarize. We want our input table to be tornadoes count state, and then we want our output to be tornadoes count state summary, or tornadoes count summary. We want our field to be tornado density, our statistic type to be mean, and we don't want any case fields. And then we want to press OK. And then that will create the standalone table for the tornadoes count summary. So the next thing this wants you to do is to complete the same analysis for the tornadoes count by state, but you want to do that for the tornadoes count by the regions map we created. Step 6 is to create a buffer. We'll use the buffer and clip operations. So we want to find the number of tornadoes that are within 100 miles of the city of Indianapolis. So we want to use a table query first. So we want to go to map, select by attributes, cities, a new selection type, and we want the area name is equal to Indianapolis, and apply. That'll select Indianapolis as the city, and then we want to extract Indianapolis into its own feature. So we can right click on cities, data, export features, rename this Indianapolis. No, that's the input. We want our output feature class to be Indianapolis, and OK. Now we want to use the buffer tool, so we can look up buffer. We want our input feature to be Indianapolis, output feature Indianapolis buffer. We want linear units. We want US survey miles and 100. Planar method, and we can run. Now we want to use the clip tool, so you can go to look up clip. We want our input feature to be tornadoes, our clip features to be Indianapolis buffer, and we want to rename this tornadoes underscore near underscore Indianapolis, and run. And then you can look at the attribute table and find the number of tornadoes that have occurred near Indianapolis. So, tornado number there. Now it asks you to complete a similar analysis, but tornadoes that occurred 20 miles from within a distance of 20 miles to an interstate. Now, step 7 is to use the intersection and the union tools. So we want to use the intersect tool first. So we want to look up the intersect. We want our input features to be states and US Eco reference L3, and we want our output to be named Eco state underscore bisext. We want to leave the join to all attributes, and we can run. Now we want to use the dissolve tool. And we want to set the input feature to eco states. And we want our output to be called eco state dissolve. And we want to dissolve the fields state name and US L3 name, and we can run. Now we want to add a summary statistics table for the eco state dissolve, so we can right click, open up the attribute table. We want to go to the state name, and we want to summarize. And then we want to set this to eco count by state. We want our statistics field to be US L3 name, and we want to set the statistic type to count. We want our case field to be state name. And then we can run. Now we want to use the union tool. So if we go back to analysis, tools, union, we can set the input layers to states and the US eco reference. We want to set the output to eco state underscore union. We want all attributes, and we can run. And then after you completed this, you can compare how many features were created for the intersection and the union, and that will end exercise 13.